Your tribe matters. Your close circle is either your greatest asset or your biggest liability. Many years ago, a colleague and I were talking about a mutual friend's divorce and the trauma she was experiencing. And Lynette said, "Sarah, your partner is either your greatest asset or your biggest liability." My friend Tom Dietzler shared an inspiring, insightful story with me from when he was a teenager. It was about the decision he made to change the friend group that he was spending a lot of time with. At 16, he realized that the guys he was spending this time with weren't going to have the future he saw for himself, the future he wanted for himself. So he reached out to a friend who did embody the kinds of qualities that he decided he wanted in his life for his future. And he told him what he wanted to do. His friend didn't hesitate to include Tom into that group of friends. And after a little while, he was embraced by them too. It wasn't like a light switch. He felt like he had to prove to them and to himself that he was changing, that he was worthy, and that he belonged. And here we are decades later, acknowledging that life-changing pivot that came from a decision and action he took at 16 years old. As I watch our two boys, 21 and 24, move through their young adult lives, this message has become even more clear. The people you spend time with, the people you surround yourself with, are the critical components of your success. How many times have you heard a parent say about their troubled kid, "She just got mixed up with the wrong crowd"? Or the opposite, "She had a great group of friends growing up"? And yet, as adults, we seem to forget that this message continues to apply to us. In 2016, I was invited to speak at an event in Helena at the annual conference of the Women's Leadership Network. I was familiar with the organization. I was a member, had attended a few programs, and had presented at a luncheon, but I hadn't gotten involved beyond that. The support and enthusiasm I experienced at the conference that year and afterward encouraged me to join the board. This group of women are unlike any I have ever experienced. They actively and generously support the women in our community. And being part of the board gave me an incredible opportunity to grow as a professional and as a leader. One program that was especially inspiring to me was led by my friend Ann Wakeman. At the time, she was the executive director of our city's food bank, and I considered her one of the matriarchs of our nonprofit community. She is a force. Her program was about building a personal board of directors. Seek specific people with specific skill sets who can complement you in your life. Find the right person to guide and mentor you for each part, your relationships, career, finance, parenting, fitness, even the fun parts. You need someone for each of the critical aspects of how you spend your precious days. Her points were that no one person can serve all the roles you need in your life, and that when you surround yourself with people who share your values and who think differently from you, people who have different skill sets from yours, your life becomes richer and far more satisfying. During my time as a board member of WLN, I started to get more active on the LinkedIn platform, and that too played a huge role in where I am today. In the first few months of getting active on LinkedIn, I met a core group of professionals who were either doing what I wanted to be doing or who were on their way with a side hustle, like me. In late summer of 2016, I woke up with an idea I couldn't get out of my head. I was learning so much from these people online through commenting, sharing each other's content, through direct email messages and a periodic phone call. I could just imagine the exponential growth we could all experience if we were learning together, face to face, in the same room. That's when the No Longer Virtual Summit was born. The first year, we had 23 people in the room from all over the US and Canada. It felt more like a wonderful reunion of friends than a professional conference. And yet, I still refer to some of what I learned at that first event in February 2017 as I continue to build my business today. And every year since has brought professional and personal insights and encouragement that I can't imagine getting anywhere else. Every day, I consider who is in my orbit and whose orbits I inhabit. Am I serving a greater purpose by contributing? Am I learning and growing, supported and encouraged by the people I'm spending time with? Recently, I received a beautiful text message from a dear friend. She ran into our younger son in the city where he's in college and sent me a picture of the two of them together. She's known our boys since they were little. And in her text message, she raved about what a wonderful young man Max is. She said, "Good job, Mom and Dad. You did it. You raised an awesome young man." As their parents, we've received quite a lot of compliments like that about both of our young men, and I always hesitate to accept them as they are. Not because I don't believe I had a role in who they are today, but because I know my influence was not the only one to build them into who they are. We can take credit for nurturing their natural curiosity, compassion, and kindness. But what I really feel confident about taking credit for is that their father and I nurtured a community of support for them to grow up within. Our groups of friends, family, and neighbors all had roles in who our children are today. Our table was filled with guests, our home filled with music and musicians and art, our yard filled with gatherings of people eating good food and enjoying great company. The more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that when we surround ourselves with people who want to see us thrive, who support and encourage us in our adventures and misadventures, our experiments and our times of contemplation, we can't help but become the best people we can be. And if we're those people too, the ones who support and encourage, if we're the ones who, when we hear someone near us say, "I have a crazy idea," we respond with, "Awesome, how can I help?" We build a community that rises above pettiness and politics. So I'm asking you today, what step will you take to be that person in your community consistently? And what steps will you take today to shed the people who aren't supporting and encouraging your growth? Thank you for listening to episode 248 of the Your Stories Don't Define You podcast. If you're looking for your tribe of supporters and encouragers, you don't have to look too far. The 6th No Longer Virtual Summit is coming up on February 27th and 28th, 2023 in Chicago at the Omni Hotel. Limited to 40 guests this year, you will experience the most generous, successful, wicked smart professionals, entrepreneurs, and innovators in one room. We learn together, we grow together, we support each other in our adventures and experiments, and we have seen incredible success in our alumni over the years. From becoming authors of best-selling books to multi-thousand-dollar speaking engagements, from solopreneurial beginnings to building impactful business empires. Check out the details and register at elkinsconsulting.com/NLV-home. I hope to see you there. Thanks for listening to Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Tell Them Will. I'm putting some finishing touches on a new course, Get the Offer, Job Interview Storytelling, that will be available online in early fall 2022. It is so important that this course is truly relevant, helpful, and useful for my clients. So I'd love your help. would you please email me at sarah@elkinsconsulting.com or complete the form that's linked on the blog post associated with this podcast episode to add your ideas for the course? I'd love to know your biggest challenges when it comes to job interviews, so the content of my online course is exactly what you need. I appreciate your help. Thanks in advance.